Okay, so my name is Nelly Muluka. I am the Acting Chief Manager, Corporate Services and Administration at the Kenya Film Classification Board. Kenya Film Classification Board is a state agency under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. We regulate audiovisual content as mandated by the Films and Stage Plays Act Cap 222 of the laws of Kenya. Regulation is done at 5 levels of the creative, broadcasting, distribution, possession, and exhibition. We regulate to just ensure that every content, audiovisual content that is meant for public exhibition has to be regulated to conform to our culture, to our national values, moral values, and aspirations. The other essence of regulation is to ensure that we protect children and vulnerable adults from exposure to inappropriate content. For the children, we also try, and the minors, to protect them from content that would expose them prematurely to adult content. To ensure that it's a win-win situation and that we are not stifling creativity, we are mandated to examine and classify all audiovisual content that is meant for public exhibition. So after we have done this, we just ensure that it's given an appropriate rating for viewership. For example, we have the GE, which is the general exhibition that can be viewed by everybody. There's another rating after classification of PE, parental guidance is advised. We have 16, not suitable for people who are above that age, and then we have 18 plus, meant for the adults. One thing, it's important to know that as we classify, we also do it in context to ensure that, let's say we are talking about Turkana, we know that the Turkana culture, if for example there's a bit of nudity, we don't look at it as nudity, we look at it as culture. But again, in another situation, that would pass for nudity. So we are very clear about what we do to ensure that we are classifying within context. It is done by internal and external examiners. They do it in a scientific way to also just ensure that there's objectivity in what we do. You also talked about the licenses. Of course, the Kenya Film Classification Board gives licenses that will then enable you to go and film your work. We also give other licenses to video shops. We give them to PlayStations. We also work closely with the theaters, whom we also license. And the theaters, of course, that is where you'll find the premieres taking place. So about the regulations, as you said, and the fields, we are working on new regulations that are going to really favor the creatives, and we hope once they have been passed, they are already at an advanced stage. There will be self-regulation in most of the areas, and with self-regulation, our work will remain to just ensure that we are monitoring what you are doing out there. We are also correcting you just to let you know this one belongs here, this one should be done this. So once it is done, even for the fees, if the new guidelines, the new regulations go through, then it will be a win-win for both the regulator and the content creators, because you will be able to be disciplined and ensure that you are regulating yourself, you are staying within the laws, with the guidelines, that children are not being exposed, you are not inviting them, for example, to video games, that whatever you create, then you know who your audience is and you post it appropriately to reach the audience without exposing our children to inappropriate content.